Can you tell me a little about where you're living at the moment?
I'm living in St. Petersburg at the moment with my family, and it's the most fascinating, exciting cities I've ever been in my life, and I love it because of having a lot of marvelous facilities, beautiful views, and there is even the sea, but it's not warm, but it's okay for me because I'm not keen on swimming.
Do you prefer living in a house or an apartment?
When I was a child, I used to think that it's only one appropriate way to me to live somewhere, and it is an apartment only. Because, there is a lot of work for me in a house, and I understood that. But now I'm a mother. I've got a son. He's really small right now, and he's only 1 year and 10 months. And of course, I get it that it's very convenient to live in separated house, and I don't care about your neighbors, about noises, and just enjoy this day, this evening with your family, no matter what happens.
What are some of the things that you like to do at the weekend in the summer?
Firstly, I'm keen on shopping, no matter what seasons outside. It's just my cup of tea, and I really love it because it fills me a lot of good feeling inside me, and after that, I become more kind. I think so. Secondly, it's walking with my family, with my son and my husband, near the sea and maybe near our house. There are a lot of playgrounds, and just we enjoy themselves. And last but not least, it's swimming, of course, but it depends on weather because despite having a warm summer, we don't have a lot of days with really high temperature.
What are some of the things that families do together at the weekend in your country?
I guess that most families in our country they prefer to together domestic chores on Saturday because we don't have a lot of time for doing that at weekdays. We're busy, we are studying, working, maybe going in the kindergarten or school, and it's maybe some kind of family bonding on Sunday with your relatives. And in my case, we've discussed a whole week our businesses and our plans for next week.
Do you like shopping?
Yes, I like shopping because it's great ability to express your pleasure to your closest people, such as my husband, my son, my mother, myself, and of course it's toys, books. I recently bought for my son a coat, warm autumn coat, and I don't know, it's great for me to buy something useful. And it was I recently bought to my husband a warm sweater, and he was surprised. I don't know. I would like to share my caring about them, and I think it's a good way to maintain your relations. I mean, some small gifts.
Do you feel it's true that women like shopping more than men?
Certainly, Women like shopping more than men because we wear a lot of bins in order to go outside with her friends maybe and just to enjoy interaction with them and to buy something new. You know that there are a lot of empty places in women's wardrobe, in every woman's wardrobe. And I think that it's good for expression your emotions after challenging weekdays.
Please talk about the topic below for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make some notes if you wish. Do you understand? Okay. I'd like you to describe a restaurant you like.
I would like to talk about my lovely restaurant in Ufa. It's Своя Компания. I went there in 2012. It was my first event with my relatives, friends. We celebrated my starting of studies, economy studies in the university. And I've been there maybe 3 times a month. It depends on how much celebrations we will have in these months. And there are different types of food, like Japanese food, sushi rolls, and noodles, rice with seafood, Russian food, it's soups, I don't know, pelmeni and etc. And Italian food, of course, it's the most popular food in every restaurant. It's a pasta, pizza, etc. and a good wine. There is a really warm atmosphere in the restaurant. There are a lot of candles, books, flowers, lights, and I like this restaurant so much because of having affordable prices. Maybe yes, it's a primary reason why I love it so much. And it's a good place for family bonding, for friends meeting, for parties too, why not? And you just have to go there and to take a rest.
What cultural role does food play in society?
Food plays an important role in society. It's about connection between people, and you can express your feeling, thoughts through the food. And the closer you are physically and emotionally to others, the greater your food is. Of course, vice versa, and it's interdependent connection. And you can express your respect to your parents, their relatives, and cook something traditional. And express your love to cook some delicious food of your husband or boyfriend, or just order their lovely food. It's a language of love, friendship too, and culture. It's a language of respect for nationalities, because they really encourage the next generation to cook their traditional meals, because it's just supportive and you can do it anyway.
How has food culture changed in your country over the last 20 years?
I suppose that food culture is getting worse in my country over the last 20 years and all over the world. I can explain it. Because all people, we're obsessed with machines, some special gadgets, to cook our food faster. We have a lot of services, food services, in order to not cook and just eat it without preparation from restaurants or cafe. And of course, it's fast food. All of us, we suffered from hurry up sickness, and we have to do everything faster, sleep faster, take a rest faster, and of course, fast, eat faster. And it causes a lot of problems with health. I think that it's increasing number of diseases, stomach ache, and some kind of cancer of stomach too, because it's not very useful for your health, for your body, to use fast food and processed food too.
What are your feelings about the use of genetically modified food?
When I heard about this problem, I was scared. It was about my health, my generation, next generation, a whole world in all, and of course about my safety. And I've decided to check all ingredients of every product on the supermarket. But my mind is changing, and right now I understand that it's not so huge and it's not a problem, because a lot of product, I don't know, they have to be modified, because it's about the terms, our safety, saving all nutritious vitamins, maybe for transportation and etc. It's very convenient to us, to population, to buy this type of food, and it's a kind of progress in food culture. And it's not so harmful how I can imagine. It's just about, I don't know, it's like type of producing a product, type of growing a product, and it's all. I think that people should think about other problem, because there are a lot of eco-friendly organic food which are so expensive, but we don't care. We do care about genetically modified food.
Hello, Alina, and thank you for doing the speaking test. Let's go over your score. Now, let's talk about how you were almost a 6. Down here, uses a range of connectives and discourse markers. You did use a pretty good range. You said things like secondly, firstly, you said last but not least. You did say and a lot, but overall, this was enough to get you a 6. The reason you would get a 5 is because overall, you were a bit too slow. And if you look down at 5, the first point, usually maintains flow of speech, but uses, and then the third one, slow speech to keep going. So it is kind of close to a 6, but just that slightly too slow of speech would give you a 5 overall here. Moving on to lexical resource, again, talking about the good points, you did use some less common and idiomatic vocabulary. I took a couple examples. You said, it's not my cup of tea. You said, the closer you are physically and emotionally. That was great. You said, obsessed with machines. Great expressions. But overall, you would not get a 7. You didn't really paraphrase that effectively. And again, there were just too many small errors in collocation. I took a note like, I bought to my husband instead of I bought it for my husband. That also falls into grammar. You said empty places in every woman's wardrobe. Um, it didn't really sound natural. Understood perfectly, but again, it didn't sound overly natural. So, and it wasn't expressions that we would use in English. So, yeah, that's why it would be a six, because you did use a wide enough range for vocabulary. Um, except there were, quite a few inappropriacies. Again, you don't have to be perfect for a seven, but yeah, there were a few too many. Um, moving on to grammatical range and accuracy, you didn't use a very big range. You were, kind of accurate. The more complex sentences you used, there were quite a few small errors there or mistakes. So it was a strong six for this overall. You did use, a bit of a mix, but there was quite limited flexibility. You didn't make frequent mistakes with complex structures. I'd say like 50-50, so not frequent, but still, it would put you at a six for grammatical range and accuracy. Looking at pronunciation, um, this was almost a six. The reason I gave you a five is you have to get everything in the six band to get a six overall. Where it becomes a five is because of the limited range of pronunciation features. This kind of ties back into the fluency and coherence part. You were fairly flat and kind of mechanical throughout. It was kind of the flow of your speech was kind of da 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 da. There was some chunking, but overall it wasn't enough to get a six. Okay. So that's why it was a five. It wasn't a four, don't get me wrong, but to get a six, you have to do everything in that. Otherwise, it becomes a five. Okay. Now, overall, it was a 5.5. There is a chance with a more generous examiner that you might get a six for pronunciation, okay? Because, humans do have different opinions. So you might get a six for pronunciation, but still, it would be a 5.5 overall because of the fluency and coherence score. To help with the fluency and coherence and the pronunciation, it's really good to practice, record yourself, and get more comfortable speaking a little faster and a little more intonation with your voice going up and down while you're talking. Lexical resource, that was your strongest area. Again, I talked about the expressions you used. Again, improving your collocations, getting them more accurate. And that also ties into grammar, using more complex sentence. Like even if you just use conditionals like if or when something something, that would really help start to get you into the seven range for lexical resource and grammatical accuracy. So I do think with some practice, it would be quite an easy step for you to get into six overall and even 6.5 with again looking at collocations more and just becoming more comfortable with like how expressions are used in English. Okay, I wish you the best of luck on your next exam. Bye bye.